If pocket hole joinery has been holding you back from building a custom furniture base, let me show you how I built this one using a basic Kreg pocket hole jig. Now, honestly, this was my first time ever building a furniture base like this, so let's see how it goes. I decided on a leg height of around 5.5 inches, which would bring the overall height of the sideboard to roughly 35 inches tall once assembled. I started by cutting all 4 legs down to size. First, I trimmed one end of the oak board flush, then clamped a stop block in place on my miter saw so that I could make sure all 4 legs ended up exactly the same length. I also felt that the leg height would work well proportionally with the 2.5-inch apron pieces that I'd be putting across the front and sides, making the base feel a bit more balanced without feeling too bulky or heavy. Before cutting the apron pieces, I needed to figure out all my measurements. I wanted the new base to run all the way to the outer corners of the sideboard. So I measured the full width and depth of the piece and then subtracted the thickness of the legs so the apron pieces would fit properly between them. Since a 2x2 is actually 1.5 by 1.5, that meant subtracting a total of 3 inches from the overall width. Just like before, I started by trimming the end of the board to make sure it was nice and square before making any cuts. After putting everything in place, however, I realized I'd measured the side pieces wrong. I cut them 1.5 inches too long. I forgot to accommodate for the second leg. That's a lot better than cutting them too short, so I just trimmed them back so that everything would fit properly. With everything cut to the right size, I started turning the pieces around to figure out which sides of the oak looked best facing outward. Oak grain can vary a lot from board to board, so I wanted the nicest faces visible on the finished base. Once I was happy with the layout, I labeled everything so I wouldn't accidentally mix up the pieces during assembly. Next came the pocket holes. Because I was working with 3/4 inch thick oak, I adjusted my Kreg jig depth accordingly and used 1 1/4 inch fine thread pocket hole screws designed for hardwood. Before I could attach everything together though, I needed to drill all the pocket holes. So I also adjusted the drill bit to the 3/4 inch setting for the thickness of my wood, then clamped each piece securely to the table and drilled 2 pocket holes into each end so the apron pieces could be fastened tightly to the legs during assembly. I then clamped all pieces, the apron and the 2 legs, tightly to the table and screwed everything together. The fine thread screws are important with oak because they grip really well without being as aggressive as coarse thread screws would be. Coarser screws can sometimes split hardwoods. As you can see, I'm really taking my time getting everything lined up perfectly and clamping it down incredibly securely so that all my joints are flush. Rather than driving one screw all the way in and then the other, I drive each one in a little at a time, alternating between them until they're fully seated. I repeated the process on the other side, again with the Kreg jig and drill bit set to the 3/4 inch setting to accommodate the thickness of the oak. While putting together the second side, I decided to add some wood glue for extra strength. It felt a bit sturdier, tighter, and overall it just seemed to come together a bit more cleanly. So I decided to repeat the process on the first side. I disassembled everything and then put it all back together again using wood glue in between the joints. Some of the techniques you're seeing here are because I learned from the Flying Dutchman, and while I don't follow her process exactly, her tutorials gave me the confidence to tackle my first furniture base build. Once both sides were assembled, I added pocket holes to the front apron piece and then attached everything together to form the full base. Thankfully, I had a really large flat table to work on, which made clamping everything down and keeping the entire base square a lot easier during assembly. When I was attaching the first side, I noticed the pieces had separated slightly at the leg. You can see the gap there if you look closely. I tried to keep going at first, but realized it was just too far apart to ignore. As it turned out, I hadn't clamped everything down quite tightly enough, so once I realized it was too wide of a gap, I backed the screws out, reclamped everything securely, and tried again. This second time around worked perfectly, so I repeated the process on the other side, putting the clamp on the inside edge of the leg to make it a little tighter. I was pretty pleased when I dry fit the completed base for the first time and saw that the proportions and fit were exactly what I've been aiming for. Once I knew everything lined up properly, I marked all my pocket hole locations with arrows so I wouldn't accidentally drill anything in the wrong direction. Then I moved the base back over to the table, clamped it down, and drilled the pocket holes. In retrospect, it probably would have been easier to drill the pocket holes that attach the base to the sideboard before assembling the front and sides together, but I was still able to make it work. After that, I sanded everything smooth using 180 grit sandpaper to soften the edges, smooth out the joints, and get the entire base ready for stain. I like drawing pencil lines across the wood first because once the pencil marks disappear, you know you've sanded the entire surface evenly. And if your joins weren't perfectly flush, this is a great time to sand those smooth as well. Once everything was sanded down, I gave it one last wipe down with acetone. So at this point, I've spent a lot of time and some money getting this oak base built and getting these surfaces sanded down to raw wood. So picking a stain is kind of a big deal. My favorite stain to use is Fusion Stain and Finishing Oil. This is Walnut, which is one of their newer colors, and I absolutely love it. And I'm going to use it on this base, and then we'll see how it looks. Once I'd applied a coat of this stain and finishing oil to everything, I left it for about 10 minutes and then gave everything a good wipe back with a blue shop towel. The amazing thing about this product is it is a stain and finishing oil all in one, so it does not require a top coat. With the finishing work mostly complete, it was finally time to attach the new base. I started by carefully positioning the base on the sideboard and making sure everything was centered and lined up the way I wanted. To keep the base from shifting while I worked, I started with a single screw near one end of the front apron and then added a second screw near the middle and a third near the opposite end. This locked the position in place and made it much easier to work my way around the rest of the base. A few areas wanted to pull away slightly, so I held the base tight against the cabinet as I drove in the screws. You could also use clamps here, but I found it manageable to do by hand. Working on one side at a time helped keep everything aligned and ensured the base stayed tight against the bottom of the cabinet. Once the final screws were in place, it was finally time for the molding I've been waiting for. Have you ever built a custom furniture base? And if not, did this tutorial give you the confidence to tackle one? Let me know in the comments, and if you'd like to see the full sideboard transformation, watch this video next.